What's going on, guys? All right, so this week I just want to do a quick little video here. I'm going to put this out on YouTube just for a little quick tip for you guys, just to kind of give you a little idea about stance. So what made me bring this up was I happened to be on Facebook today, and don't ask me why I even get into these conversations, but when you see stuff that you feel like you can help people with, you hope that you can help, and then you have to hope that they listen. But that's not always how it goes online. So I wanted to give you guys a little tip here on stance. So I'll just give you a little preface on why I brought this conversation up. So today, while I was on Facebook, I heard how trigger press is the most important thing, that your grip doesn't matter, a straight trigger press back matters more than anything, stance doesn't matter, all these different things that don't matter but the trigger press. Well, that's BS, and I'm going to show you why. And again, everybody has their own opinion. There's many ways to do this game, but I want to show you guys kind of something how I do it, and one of the reasons why I found out that stance is really important. Now, the reason why stance is very, very important is for a couple of reasons. One, you have to have a good solid base to control recoil. And I know people say, oh, if you just have a good grip, but I'm going to give you a good example here. So if I'm holding my gun straight up and down and I have my gun out and I have a loose grip and I have just a straight trigger pull and the gun goes off, I have no grip. How do I put the gun back on target? How do I put the gun back on target? I have to have a proper grip to redo that. If I do not, I'm going to take an extremely long amount of time to get back onto target. So again, the way I answered these questions of these professional shooters, I guess I'll call them, online, was, which they're not professional shooters, by the way, online when we were having a conversation, was that, you know, you have to be, you can shoot one shot any way you want. If you're looking to hit the an apple off of somebody's head, trigger press is extremely important. But so is grip. If you have a great grip, you don't need a perfect trigger press. You don't need to press that trigger straight back. Yes, it helps. It's just part of the overall shooting experience of being accurate. But if you have a super great grip, you can slap that trigger all you want and the gun doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't matter. But trigger press is important. But again, it's just an added addition. It's not the most important part. The grip is the most important part. But what started this conversation was about stance. So you have people that say stance doesn't matter. So you're telling me that I can stand like this and stand like this and shoot, and it doesn't matter, long as I have a straight trigger press. So I figured today was the day. I'm in my Christmas colors. I'm out here at my parents' house for Christmas, and I figured I'd throw this video together real quick for you guys. So I'm going to show you a couple of things about stance and why it matters while I'm shooting the gun. All right, guys, so while I'm shooting the gun here, I want to really bring up a point about my stance and how it really makes a difference. So one of the comments on this specific post was that the stance doesn't matter and you don't have to worry about having a great stance. So his first response, one of the gentleman's first response, was that if you're standing with your toes and shoulders just over the top of your toes. All right, so basically I'm standing straight up. Well, now I'm going to give you an example of standing straight up and pulling the trigger. This is going to be a rapid shot. I'm going to pull the trigger multiple times and show you what happens as I ramp up the speed. I'm going to shoot the right target. Accuracy doesn't really matter here, but I will go back and kind of give you guys an idea at the end here of what accuracy was with a bad stance. So I'm going to do bad stance on the right, good stance on the left eventually. Here we go. So this is just me pulling the trigger, and I'm going to just stand my feet straight up and down, no lean forward. I'll put a little knee bend in. Now watch my feet and watch my body as I shoot here. Here we go. That was with zero lean forward, standing straight up with my shoulders over my toes like I was told was the proper way. Now, I was accurate. I was dead center in the middle of the target, but as I shot, the gun went up, up the accuracy went. Now I had a good grip. Now, I'm gonna try to do a bad stance with perfect trigger presses and a loose grip. Now let's see what my hits go like. Here we go. Now again, this is all gonna be at speed. I'm not trying to go slow here, okay? Here we go. Loose grip, just a perfect trigger press. I don't get it. I just don't get how these guys come up with this stuff in their head that you can just stand there, no body tension, nice and loose. The only thing that matters is a good trigger press. So if you start to see it, you can't really see it on the target yet, because I'll make sure I go up there, but it started to go up and it started to go right, left, because I'm losing my grip. It starts to move all over the paper instead of dead center in the middle in a nice tight group. So let's get to the proper way of doing it. What you really want to do is be aggressively lean forward just a little bit over your shoulders over the front of your toes, just a slight bit. You want to have your knees bent. I'm big about not having wide feet. There are other guys that coach super wide feet. I have figured out with the timer that super wide feet end up costing you more time. Now here's the key about wide feet. It's not that you don't have a stable base. You do. With wide feet, you have a much more stable base. You actually can do a lot more different things when you get into positions. When you're stable, you're down, you can lean off those 2 feet, those 2 legs. Here's the issue. When you start shooting a sport where you're moving and shooting, you have to be thinking about the exits and the entrances. So if you have super wide feet and you try to leave, all you're going to do is stand yourself back up when you have super wide feet. So, because no one runs, and I'll go into this, no one runs like this, down like this. They always stand back up. So if your feet are super wide and you push off, eventually you're going to be standing yourself back up. So this is one of the reasons why I'm always shoulder width apart. So when I press off, I'm always at the same level. I'm never changing levels. That's the key to my shooting, the way I coach, the way I teach, the way I shoot. So now I'm going to do the proper grip, and I'm going to shoot the left-hand target with the proper stance where I'm actually not going to fall backwards because of the recoil. There was some other comment on there that talked about elbows bent. Absolutely, you want your elbows bent. I know this is kind of going into a little bit of everything, but this is how important that all of this stuff works together. And it starts with a good stance. From there, it goes to a good grip. Then from there, it goes to the trigger press, right? It doesn't go trigger press, then a grip, then a stance. The trigger press is the last thing out of those 3 things. So we go into the left target now, and I'm going to shoot with more of aggressive stance. Now, what I personally like to do, this is not everybody, you don't have to do this. This is just personally the way I do it. I'm always going to have my right foot back because I'm right. That's my strong leg. That's my power leg. That's what I use the most to press off with. It's also the leg that I want my gun. I don't move that leg unless I have to. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad on this, guys, because right now the wind just picked up big time. So I'm trying to block the microphone so I don't have a ton of wind blowing it around. So what I'm trying to do here, guys, is I'm trying to make sure that I am ready and aggressive and ready to leave. I can absolutely shoot on 1 foot if I have to. I can absolutely shoot with both feet underneath my shoulders, but it's not ideal. That's not what the conversation was about. It's not that you can't do it, it's that you shouldn't do it, and you shouldn't try to practice doing it. It doesn't make sense to set yourself up with bad habits. So what I want to do is, I'm going to come to my stance. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my stance and I'm going to take a half a step back. So my right toe is in the middle of my left foot. I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to face the target. I'm going to bend my knees. And all I'm going to do is just do a slight lean forward. So I'm just in front of my toes. I'm just a little bit in front of my toes. I'm not way back. I'm not way forward. I want to keep my head up and I want to keep my body forward so that I have something that controls the recoil. All right? So now I'm going to shoot. I should have enough here. I'm going to shoot this target on the left-hand side. I'm going to have a great grip, good stance, and I'm going to pull the trigger on the left-hand side. I'm going to do 6 shots here. Here we go. Stand by. If you noticed, my body stays still. I don't move around a whole bunch. Everything's just solid. I don't have any movement at all. I did let one get away with me. I kind of drove the gun down a little bit. I didn't really warm up or practice for this. I just kind of threw it together. But on the left-hand side, my group is now like this compared to the other target that's like this. I'll go again, and this time I'll try to pick a hole and keep it there. Now again, this is rapid fire. I'm not shooting slow, I'm shooting fast. So that's the point. If I want to shoot 1 shot, I can stand on 1 foot. But I really want to sit here and focus on the center of that A. So here I'm going to put 6 more in the center, and I'm going to try to stay in the same hole. Rapid fire. Stand by. So if I just hold the gun where I'm supposed to, it hits the middle every single time. Again, guys, stance is the first thing you should be thinking about because it's the foundation of how you stand, how you hold the gun. If you don't stand properly or have a good solid foundation, you're not going to be able to keep recoil under control. All right, guys, if you got any questions, hit me up in those comments, and I'll see you on the range.